Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Today is August 30th, Friday, August 30th. August has gone by so fast. Hope you're having a great start to your day, end of your day. Thanks for spending it with me. This is Nailed It Sports. My name is Caleb Nail. You can follow me on X, Caleb_Nail, N-A-L-E. This is a show where we talk about Jesus and sports, the two great unifiers. You could look at it as the two great dividers. we tend to look at it as the two great unifiers on this wonderful planet we call Earth. So today we're going to talk some college football because we had college football yesterday. We also had some high school football yesterday. A lot of high school football tonight. There's just so much football going on. I'm excited for it. But first, I want to start in the book of Psalms, and I want to read Psalm 23. You probably know Psalm 23. So if you don't, I'm sure you've heard it before. It's my favorite chapter in the Bible. It's one of my favorite chapters in the Bible. It's so good. I was praying with my son last night, and it came up, and we're taking a quick break from James because I think this is important and very encouraging. I think some people need to hear this. So this is Psalm 23. We're going to do the whole thing. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me down paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Man, that's good. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. So I'll start there. A lot of people want to be their own shepherds, right? Or they want to shepherd other people. It never ends well. So if we are our own shepherd, that's bad. I could tell you from experience, when I was trying to be my own shepherd, I didn't get anywhere in life. People run into problems when they try to shepherd themselves, or when humans try to shepherd each other. We run into problems. I look at marriages. When we try to run our marriages, they get really hard. When you rely on our shepherd, Jesus Christ, I shall not want. You don't need anything. He takes control of it. And when things are in his hands, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I tell you, my marriage flourishes when I turn everything over to him. Look, I don't know how to parent. I'm just figuring it out right now. But I pray for wisdom. I ask for wisdom and patience and the fruits of the Spirit, have the Spirit work through me. And then I don't worry about it. And with everything that goes on, football season, I have had hardly any time with my son, and I absolutely hate it. But guess what? Somehow there is still time in the day for me to play with my son, love on my wife, and it's been awesome. I turn everything over to him when things look dark and you're without a leader. The Good Shepherd is our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He will help, and you will not want. But look, this is what he does. I should have just read this right away, but I wanted you to have some real world examples. But he makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Peaceful, right? No worries, lying in green pastures with a wonderful stream running through it. Beside still waters, he restores my soul. He leads me down paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Okay. And even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You know how many times it says, do not fear in the Bible? 365. Coincidence? Probably, because they didn't use I don't believe they used our calendar back in the day. But I'm going to take that as a sign. You shouldn't fear at all, ever, any day of the week, any day of the year. 365 times the Bible says, do not fear. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. That's pretty sweet. It's awesome. I think about the disciples and the apostles that came after the disciples as they spread the good news throughout the world, and they were hated and mocked and killed and tortured, all of them. And the one example, Nathan, when he was being stoned, he just his experience while he was dying was, uh, heaven came down to him and took him from that pain. And he went, boom, put him to sleep, and he died there, but didn't experience it. The Lord prepared a table before him in the presence of his enemies. I will say, like, this is David talking. This is Old Testament, but I mean, there's prophecy in here as well that did come true through Jesus Christ. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. And I don't know if this is the case. I don't know if this is what he's referring to, but back in the day when they would repent, or they would be there was sickness in the church or anything like that, they would anoint them with oil to help for healing process, and that's what they were called to do, and they did that. And so I read this and I think of that. So you anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. And like, so the way I look at that is the Lord's forgiveness and healing just running through me, like, so overwhelming me. And that has been my prayer for some people on my prayer list, is that just the Lord would overwhelm them with his love. Just, I want them to experience it. I don't want them to have any question about it. Lord, you overwhelm them with your love, so much so that they can't deny it. I mean, I take that back. They can deny it, but they will know what they are denying. Surely, don't call me Shirley. Surely, goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That is my prayer for you. That is my prayer for me. I pray that goodness and mercy follow us all the days of our life. And I just want us to dwell in the house of the Lord forever. It's awesome. It's hard to explain. Right? There's only one word for it in the English language that can describe it, and it's perfect. The word is perfect. Perfect peace, perfect joy, a perfect love. When you dwell in his house, in the Lord's house, it is perfect. And it's undeniable when you enter it. You will know, because you will be overwhelmed. Like, I get chills right now. Yeah, it's a little cold out here, but I'm soft. But I get chills talking about this because it's so true. And I've experienced that. And I want you guys to experience that if you haven't. If you have, let's bring other people into the house of the Lord so that they can experience it. Don't we want other people to experience it? I do. I sure do, because it is awesome. If you want to experience that, shoot me a DM. I'd love to talk more about it. Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. We have an awesome God that loves us so much. If you have prayer requests, if you have questions, feel free to DM me on X, Caleb_Nail, NALE. I'd be happy to chat. And man, it's so good. Psalm 23. So like I said, we're going to be in James. Took a quick break today because Psalm 23 is just so good, and I felt it tugging on me to share. Felt the Spirit calling me to share because I feel like someone needed to hear that. All right, let's talk sports. This week has kind of been insane for me. Every day after work, I've had something with the Fresno State game going on for Michigan and with Beware Bulldogs. So it's been a lot. So I'm not going to talk about Fresno State, Michigan. You can go check all that stuff out on Beware Bulldogs. We had Anthony Broom on. He is a writer for On3. He covers Michigan. Great guy. He was awesome. I learned a ton. And then I was a guest on a pod with John Diadamo. Caleb Pletz was on the Big Mountain Pod talking Fresno State, Michigan. I was in a Twitter space with a bunch of Michigan fanatics, I should say, and they were great. I learned a lot from them as well. And then we had our preview, and we got roasted in the YouTube comments. So go check those out. Fresno fans, we need your help there. Caleb and I got lit up, but it was good. I should say that there was only like 3 comments out of 60 that were hard to read that came after us. So shoot, 3 out of 60, and the other 3 out of 57. 57 others were good. I'll take that any day. But anyways, the one thing I did want to say about Fresno State is that they set a record this year when it came to raising money for the athletic program. We raised close to $10 million. I think it was around 9.9 mil. It's the most all time that the athletic program brought in. Now, it didn't say where this was brought in. I assume it's a collection of the NIL collective, the foundation, the scholarship foundation called the Bulldog Foundation, through Learfield. They are in charge of getting ads for the stadium and other radio, things like that. So I'm sure it's a collection of all of it. They brought in 9.9 mil most all time. And I first thought, wow, that's kind of surprising because people are struggling. And yet they still give money to the school and these sports programs. And at the same time, it makes sense because when people are struggling, alcohol sales go up. I don't know if that's good or bad. You can make that determination. But then more people tend to go to entertainment things like sports because they need that. Right? And that's why I think sports are important. And I don't think sports are important because we need entertainment. I think sports are important because it brings people together. Right? Entertainment brings people together. Right now, it's important. Yes, it's important that we don't get distracted by these things. And that may be a problem with people talking about it for a living. I don't talk about it for a living. Do it for fun. But people want to spend money. But then I also think there's the added fact of this year, last year, and then this off season, this summer, there was a huge push to give because we have to be able to compete now that NIL is around and the transfer portal's taking players away. There's a large team put together and then a big push by them. They did a good job, obviously. Now, here's the other side of it. Now that we have set the record for the most money ever donated to Fresno State, there are going to be expectations, right? The people that gave money are going to demand wins. I don't think there's any doubt there that they will demand wins. People are giving their money, they are going to demand wins. So it's going to be very important for Fresno State to perform this year and then perform in the transfer portals for all sports because they now have more money to do it. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be fun to watch. I think this football team is going to be very good, by the way. I don't think we'll beat Michigan, but I think we're going to keep it close. Definitely going to be within. I think Fresno State will cover. It's going to be within the 21.5. We are 21.5 underdogs, according to Vegas. I think we stay within that. It's like 40 some points for the over-under. I would say take the under there. Both defenses are pretty good with the offenses having question marks. I would take the under there. But the volleyball team just came off the Mountain West Championship. It's not going to be easy for them to live up to that expectation of winning Mountain West Championships. Volleyball's fun, but water polo's got to win. Basketball has a new coach and a lot of new players. I think there's expectations there now, and there's a lot of money spent in that program, a lot more than in the past. Baseball, we have a couple guys returning that are going to be very good. There's high expectations, and with all this money coming in, now it's time to perform and put W's in those columns. So it's going to be tough, but they can do it. They have the right people there. I like Classy at AD. I like their coaches, and they have good players across the board on all programs. So this is going to be a special year for Fresno State, I think. All right, let's talk college football. Actually, let's get to the one thing in NFL, and then we'll talk college football. Brandon Ayuk signed his extension with the 49ers, 4 years, $120 million. It was only a matter of time. This is why you keep good relationships with your bosses and people you run into. Make sure you're kind always, because you never know who you're going to be working with or for. And I've said this before, but while I grew up, my dad said you need to befriend all the kids that you're playing basketball against. We were a big basketball family. Like, no, Dad, this guy's a jerk. I've played against him 5, 6, a dozen times because we played over the summer, and then we play, during the school year. I don't like him. Well, you're going to run into him later. I can promise you that. I've ran into them multiple times. And one of my best friends who was in my wedding, and we're now raising kids, and we want our kids to be friends. And I played against multiple times. I run into people all the time that I played basketball against. So it's important that you befriend people and you're kind to people that you work for, you work with, you play sports against. If you're a high school kid, make sure you befriend all the kids you're playing against. Don't fight. Go listen to the last episode. Don't fight. Because you're going to run into them, especially if you live in Fresno or in the Central Valley. But I say that because a lot happens when, especially wide receivers and DBs, go into contract extension mode. Things get tweeted out, things get said that I think that they regret. And I don't know if they actually mean it, but I think they're trying to push the conversation forward. Well, just call them and do that. I'm not saying that is what happened with Ayuk. He did put out some tweets there, but they got the deal done. The 49ers are going to be deadly again. we'll see how long this lasts because they're paying multiple guys big time money. We'll see how long they can do it for. But their offense is scary. Their defense, if they can stay healthy, is going to be scary. They have every piece to win the Super Bowl. Now they just have to do it. We'll see what happens. All right, college football yesterday. All right. So last week we went 4-0. Yesterday there were 21 games played, and I picked all of them, by the way. And I went 20-1. Oh, and by the way, I was 24-0 until the last game. My pick that went the wrong way was Sacramento State losing to San Jose State. I picked Sac State to win that game, and they were winning until the fourth quarter. And San Jose State scored, I believe, 21 unanswered, and they were down 21-24, I believe. Then scored 21 unanswered in the fourth and won the game. So, Sac State killing me, man. So I went 20-1 yesterday. But some headlines from yesterday. I think the big game that everybody watched, Colorado, North Dakota State. Very entertaining game, very fun. I don't care how you feel about Colorado. I think Colorado is great. I think the Sanders family is great. And what they're doing, the brand that they've built at Colorado is great for college football. And a lot of people were picking North Dakota State over Colorado. And before the season started, I did too. I changed it yesterday. Thank goodness. And I changed them to cover the spread, which I believe was 9.5. So I don't remember the final score. It was close because North Dakota State covered. Yeah, 26-31, Colorado. They didn't cover, but great game. They looked okay. The defense still has a lot to improve on. North Dakota State is legit. Those players are NFL players. Their quarterback, Cam Miller, was awesome. And the only reason, in my opinion, North Dakota State lost was because of how the North Dakota State coaching staff handled the game. Cam Miller, their quarterback, he's an NFL quarterback, by the way. I really like him. I don't, Trey Lance and those guys. Who's the other one? Guy played for the Eagles. I forget his name. Carson Wentz. I don't know if they've helped out the North Dakota State quarterback name with the scouts and with the fans, but this Cam Miller kid, he could play. And they subbed him out multiple times. And I watched between the first quarter and the second quarter, right? They're doing interviews, and the coach in North Dakota State coach who was on the Wyoming coaching staff last year, has been at North Dakota State for multiple times. Coach of Wyoming last year. Now he's a head coach here. Offensive-minded coach. Said, Cam Miller's having a great game. A fantastic game. And he had over 100 yards. He was, I think, like 6 for 7 at the time. Had a touchdown. Was running the ball well. Keeping up with Shedeur. Immediately after he said that, they took him out and put in another guy. And it was a different team. And it wasn't a team that could beat Colorado. So, and they did this all game. They would throw in another quarterback here and there, run different things with him. And it never panned out. Cam Miller was the guy the entire game, and you got to stick with him. They probably would have won that game if Cam Miller played every single snap. By the way, North Dakota State chucked up a Hail Mary at the end of the game for the win. Caught it, but the guy fell down at the 3, at the 2. It was right there. Only a couple yards from winning that game. So I think a lot of people are going to gloss over that because Shedeur had an awesome game and Travis Hunter was fantastic. A lot of fun. But we can't get caught up in this because the exact same thing happened last year. The exact same thing. They beat TCU. They beat Nebraska, two teams that were overrated. The entire world flipped out about Colorado being this next great program. And then in reality, they just weren't that good. Now, they are improved. Don't get me wrong. Colorado is very much improved. Their O-line, it's night and day. Their O-line is so much better. They were the worst at stopping the run last year in the country. And granted, they did play against some of the top quarterbacks in the country last year in the Pac-12. You had Caleb Williams, Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix. No walk in the park in the Pac-12 last year. Now you go to the Big 12, and it's going to be good too. You got a lot of fun quarterbacks there as well. So their defense is really going to have to step up. Their front seven is going to have to do much better. Now, at North Dakota State, what do they do well? They run the ball well. That's what they do. They're going to line up and run it down your throat and overpower you. So, they may have gotten exposed there, but not every team they play in the Big 12 is going to do that to them. And they're not going to be as good as North Dakota State doing that specific thing. But I don't think North Dakota State's defense was very good. I think they're going to face better opposition in the Big 12 when it comes to defenses. And now they do have two weapons in Shedeur and Travis Hunter to keep up with them. And Jimmy Horn, by the way, looked legit too. He's wide open, running wide open most of the time, ran past guys. But I think the speed is going to be different in the Big 12, and Colorado is really going to have to take that next step to compete for a Big 12 title. I do think they can. I'm not a Colorado hater. I actually really like what they're doing. And I'm going to get to some numbers that they showed on the television last night. But I'm a fan of Colorado. I think what they're doing for college football is good. And I think they have a decent team this year. I think that they can win 6 games and get to a bowl game. Their schedule doesn't get any easier, but they were in some close games last year that didn't go their way. And all it takes is a couple more plays where Shedeur has a clean pocket, and they win those games. So if you're a Colorado hater and you don't think that they're going to be good, I think yesterday was a small indication that there's a possibility that they win 6 games and make a bowl game. There's some really good competition in the Big 12, though, so it's going to be tough for them. It's going to be tough. I'm really excited for Colorado State. That game's going to be a blast. But Colorado, much improved from last year. Here's some numbers. Since Deion Sanders has taken the head coaching job at Colorado last year, and he's brought his 2 sons there, Travis Hunter and a whole lot of other guys, here's what's gone on in Boulder. So before Deion was there, they had 268,000 followers on social media. They currently have 2.26 million followers. They went from 268,000 to 2.26 million followers across all their social media platforms. That's insane. Their merchandise sales increased 500%. A little over that, 505%. 500% merchandise sales increase. Their university applications went up 51% among Black students. 51% among Black students. $10 million plus in home game direct economic impact into Boulder community. So they had 10 million plus go into Boulder directly from home games. 51%. Their university applications went up 51% among Black students. Merchandise sales increased by 500%, and they increased their social media following from 268,000 to 2.2 million. That's insane. That's one thing. That's brand building. And in today's day and age, when it comes to college athletics, that's what is important. We've talked about it multiple times on the Fresno State side of things, especially when basketball was hiring a coach. You have to build a brand now. Colorado did a great job. Deion Sanders did a great job. They don't even call him Deion, or they call him Deion, but they really call him Coach Prime. That's a brand. Prime is a brand. Shedeur has his watch deal. Sorry, use the middle finger. The points to the watch. That's kind of a brand thing. But Shedeur has a brand. He does that. He has his own celebration in the video game. Only Shedeur, only Colorado players can do that. That's a brand. It's crazy. Okay? And Deion knew exactly what he was doing. Right there. When university applications go up 51% among Black students, you're catering to a certain demographic. You're building a brand among certain people and they like that. That's huge. And to do that in a predominantly white area, I think that's like he's very successful. He's good at what he does. And it also speaks to other things politically that I'll get in that I will not get into, but I think you get my point here. Like the whole racist argument is we shouldn't even talk about anymore. He kind of killed that. But anyways. But I think the most important thing here is this. During home games, they're having over $10 million injected directly into the Boulder economy. That's huge. Because students are working at these places. They're getting paid. Local business owners are making money. That's massive. And if local business owners make more money, that means they can open up more jobs. They can create more jobs. More businesses are going to want to be there. More jobs. More people can make a living now in Boulder. They don't have to leave. And then, because of that, more people are going to spend money with the Colorado Buffaloes athletic program. That's huge. Over $10 million injected directly into the Boulder community on home games. So last night, that's huge. And they sold out. Season tickets have been sold out, I think, since last year for this year. What they're doing is awesome. Everybody can learn from this. It's about brand building. Okay, so Fresno State has to do that now. I mean, everybody has to do that now. You have to build a brand. And guess what? In my opinion, Colorado doesn't have to win too many games because look at last year. Look at last year. Colorado, I'm talking about them. I would never in my life have I talked about Colorado. Never. Now we are. Guess what? They could win 4 games and we will still be talking about them every week because they're a huge brand now and they did it without winning national championships or Pac-12, Big 12 championships. That's what you have to do. So we need to learn from this. This is the future of college athletics. And I don't think it's a bad thing. If I would love $10 million to be injected directly into Fresno community on Saturday nights. I'm actually curious to see how much it is. It's not that much, though. We don't have a full stadium. They could tell me it's a sellout, but when I see hundreds of seats, maybe a couple thousand seats empty on a sellout night, it doesn't make sense to me. Anyways, this is the future of college athletics. All right, some other things that happen around the country. Utah, Cam Rising is back. He went 10 for 15 for 254 yards and 5 tutties. Cam Rising's back. Right, we had a couple teams struggle. Utah wasn't one of them. NC State struggled against, I believe it was Western Carolina. They didn't turn it on until the end there. So we'll see what happens with NC State. I think once that happens, or once that happened, my first thought was Georgia Tech. It was looking even better now for an ACC title. Wake Forest didn't struggle. They played North Carolina A&T. But I don't think Wake Forest is that great of a team. Some other players that I wanted to mention. Darian Mensah. I don't know if you know this name. Darian Mensah is a freshman quarterback at Tulane. He's from San Luis Obispo. He's a freshman. Is from San Luis Obispo, went to Tulane. He got the start. He beat out Ty Thompson. Ty Thompson is a transfer from Oregon. A lot of Oregon fans wanted him to start over Bo Nix. Well, he beat out Ty Thompson, and he got the start, went 10 for 12, 205 yards, and a touchdown. And Tulane won 52-0. Look, I get it if you're a Power 5 fan, it's kind of fun. Power 4. But these group of 5 kids are no joke. And I don't get it when people say, you can't compete for championship, right? Well, that's a lie, right? What matters is the trenches, yes, and we struggle in the trenches. But you give us a shot. You get a team like Tulane, who beat USC in the Cotton Bowl a couple years ago. Now, a team like Boise in the past. Now, I don't know if that's possible anymore with the transfer portal, but you're going to have good G5 teams that are going to be able to compete. You have kids at the G5 level that are beating out 5-star recruits that are going to the P4 level, not getting the job, then transferring. Right? Maddox Madsen, Boise State, beats out Malachi Nelson. Mensah, this kid from SLO, beats out Ty Thompson, quarterback from Oregon. Who's supposed to be, he may have been 5-star, 4 or 5-star. Just watch out. I just wanted to highlight those 2 guys because I think it's fun. Today, we have college football today, by the way. Starting yesterday, we have college football 5 days in a row. F8, Florida Atlantic plays Michigan State. Kind of interested in that one. I want to see if Michigan State has actually made improvements. They are 13-point favorites. We have Oklahoma Temple. Oklahoma should smash them. But the one I'm most intrigued about is Stanford TCU. Okay, so Stanford is a 9-point underdog. And rightfully so, TCU is probably the least talked about team in the P5 this year, other than Stanford. But TCU could have a very good team this year. They could compete for a Big 12 championship. However, this is second year for Stanford with their coach. I forget his name, but he came from the FCS level. I like him. Is it Troy Taylor? I think. But Stanford has a very good quarterback. They're going to be tough defensively. And they're going to be much better than they were last year. I think both of these teams are being looked over. So this should be a fun game. It's in Stanford. I'm going to take Stanford to cover the 9, but this TCU team is very good. And I think this is an overlooked game. And on the West Coast, we can watch it because it starts at 7:30. East Coast isn't going to watch it. They're not going to know about either of these teams. And then the other thing that's happening is the tour championships going on, and Scotty Scheffler is he's running away with it, to say the least. He's 16 under currently. And then tied for second is Colin Morikawa and Xander Schauffele. They're at 9 under. Scotty's on another level right now. All right. My last thing for you guys is high school football is tonight. There was some last night. High school football is tonight. We'll have the scoreboard on Monday. Get out and support your local team. I mean, if you're in the Central Valley, you could really go anywhere within 30 minutes, 45 minutes. It's not too bad. Go support whoever you want. Inject some money into the community. Support the kids. I'm going to try to get out to a couple games tonight. We're going to see what we could do. And here's what I do. This is what we do. We call some friends of ours in different towns, because it's Central Valley. You know people all over, especially if you're in the farming community, in these small farming towns. Have them meet you out there, right? It's a nice social event. Go to the snack bar, support the school and the kids, and then, or even beforehand, meet up for dinner somewhere locally in those small towns, and then go to the game. I think that is awesome and so fun. It is so fun. I highly encourage you to do that, and then let me know where you're going tonight. All right. For God so loved the world, he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. Thank you, guys. Jesus loves you. Have a wonderful weekend, and let's support local. Peace.